Question 1. What is the educational importance of the HP learning area? The health and physical education learning provides students with opportunities to construct their own healthy lifestyle. Students who are equipped with the HP knowledge and skills are able to make their correct choices and to minimize risk behaviors in ever-changing contexts. Throughout the history, physical education and health education used to be two separate learning areas. The Australian government simply wanted schools to concentrate on physical education so as to prepare fit soldiers and strong male citizens. However, in recent years, the Australian curriculum has moved away from solely focusing on physical education to consider the importance of the HPE. The HPE learning area is more multidimensional and is shaped by 5 interrelated propositions. Teachers no longer just impart health and movement knowledge to students. They need to assist students to explore and critically evaluate knowledge in health and movement fields so that students can actively use health information to solve problems on their own in the near future. For instance, on placement, I observed a grade 2 lesson which talked about food labeling. The teacher brought a number of food packaging to the class and asked students what foods they thought were healthy. Then the teacher invited students to have a look at the food labels and paired students to search the meanings of some key terms, such as protein and sugars online. When students regrouped, the teacher asked the same question, and each group showed their ideas and stated their reasons from different perspectives. From this lesson, students develop a new approach to check whether the foods they eat are healthy or not. In addition, they are able to apply what they have learned to their daily lives and to choose foods with confidence. Moreover, they will also influence the food choice of families in a positive way. Question 2. What are some considerations when selecting and using a health education resource in your teaching? One of the considerations when selecting and using a health education resource is the diversity of students. Every child is distinct from each other, since they may come from different linguistic, cultural, or socioeconomic backgrounds. Taking one of the health topics, food and nutrition, as an example, each student would bring to the classroom a range of understandings and practices around food they are developed through family. Therefore, the resource I select for this topic should take students' differences into consideration. For instance, I would run a session called Healthy Food Plate. The aim of this session is to help grade 2 students investigate the role of food nutrition in promoting health. I plan to use a clip which is about 2 primary school children selecting foods for a balanced meal. However, before I show the clip to students, I would consider whether this resource is appropriate to use. If some of them never eat some kinds of foods, they would probably feel confused when they see the 2 children in the clip put a particular type of food in their healthy plates. Apart from it, another important consideration could be safety. Teachers are responsible for ensuring the safety of their students. When selecting or using a health education resource, teachers need to consider whether this resource will be safe. Let me continue with the food and nutrition topic. I may also run a session called Food Labeling to help students understand how information on food labels can help them make better food choices. As a part of the lesson, I need to bring a number of food packaging to the class. However, I must make sure that I take foods out of the packaging, otherwise allergy could be an issue. The use of empty food packaging is able to avoid potential safety problems. Question 3. How do students learn in, about, and through movement? Arnold coined the terms in, about, and through movement in 1979. Now, the three dimensions serve as one of the 5 propositions in the Australian curriculum for health and physical education. Learning in movement focuses on movement activities. Students are able to develop their fundamental physical skills in movement. For example, on placement, I observed a group of grade 2 students attended a tennis class. One activity was that the PE teacher served the ball on one side of the court, and students came to the other side one by one to hit the ball. Each student gripped the racket and struck the ball towards the teacher's service area. Because the ball may come from different directions, each student had to move their body so as to hit the ball. In the process, students learned to explore movement skills through using their different body parts and equipment. Learning about movement means to develop conceptual knowledge and understanding about body systems. For example, when I was doing my placement, the grade 2 students were learning a new dance with the dance teacher for their production. After the first rehearsal, the dance teacher asks students questions like, "How do you feel about the dance? Does it make you happy and relaxed?" Through discussion, students identify their body reactions when participating in this physical activity. Learning through movement focuses more on broader outcomes, such as cognitive development and an understanding of social relationships. Speaking of the tennis class, I noticed that the PE teacher set rules before the students started to practice tennis. The students line up. After a student hit the ball once, he or she passed the racket to the next student and moved to the back of the line. By doing this, students are able to recognize turn-taking through this physical activity. Question 4. How does your unit plan development demonstrate your proficiency in one of the Graduate 8 APST? I would like to focus on 4.1 of the Graduate 8 APST, which is support student participation. I mainly use 2 strategies to support student participation and engagement in classroom activities. First of all, I begin each lesson with recalling students' prior knowledge so as to promote student engagement. It could be seen clearly that each lesson of the unit plan is organized according to Bloom's taxonomy, especially its cognitive process dimension. In Australia, students come from different linguistic, cultural, or socioeconomic backgrounds. Therefore, they may have their unique characteristics, and their learning abilities could be dissimilar with each other. Thus, a bad thing for me to do is to start the lesson from the remember stage. Students recall what they know so that more students are able to feel confident and are willing to involve in learning. Besides, on the basis of their prior knowledge, students then move to the next following stages and successfully promote higher order thinking. For instance, students are going to do a review activity in the beginning of lesson 4. The teacher says a number of food names and students need to call out which food group they belong to. By doing this, students are more likely to actively participate in classroom activities from the beginning and to achieve the learning goals. Secondly, another way that helps students get involved in the lesson is through visual learning. Each student has their ways of knowing and their preferred learning styles. Some students like learning through listening, while others like learning through watching. Therefore, I incorporate audio-visual information in the unit plan. For instance, in Lesson 2, when I introduce students' food groups and their functions, I decide to use a clip from YouTube. By using the clip, I could easily attract students' attention and help them engage in learning.